on this channel. I actually filmed one a few weeks ago when I was camping with my family, but I really did not talk about books a lot in that because I was sort of in a reading slump. So I figured no one would actually want to watch that, and also my editing thing was being really weird about it, and I just it was getting on my last nerve. So I am filming this now. I am at my grandma's. I have not found like a good setup yet. All right, I think that's better. But I was watching The Office, but I don't want that to be in the background because that's probably kind of annoying. Anyways, what am I saying here? My parents are camping again, and I am not going because I just don't want to go. And I'm staying with my grandmother because I'm not going to stay home alone for that long. Anyways, so yeah, I am just filming a reading vlog. I will say I've had a really weird past couple of days. I'm not gonna get into it. It's just like a lot of different stuff happening, and yeah, my psychiatrist forgot to refill my antidepressants, and I have not had those, and I need to call just a lot's happening, so I've not been feeling that great, like mentally, lol. But I don't want to get into that. I don't know, I don't feel like incredibly comfortable just being completely open about that, but I will be somewhat honest. I've been kind of depressed lately because I haven't had my antidepressants in a while. But I'm just trying to like not, I don't know. Aside from that though, I'm like actually doing all right. I've been reading a lot, obviously, and I will talk about what I've been reading and doing and stuff. But yeah, I am excited to vlog this week, and yeah, I brought many books with me to my grandma's house because I don't know, I probably won't get to all these, but at least I have the option there. So yeah, I am actually currently reading Resurrection by Leo Tolstoy. This is a book about, basically there's two characters. There's, I am not gonna pronounce this right, well, it's Dmitri and then Nekhludoff. I don't know, but he's like the main character basically, and then we have Maslova, girl, the Russian names, but we have Maslova, and she is imprisoned wrongfully, and he is trying to basically appeal to like a higher court to get her so that she doesn't have to like go to Siberia and be a laborer for 4 years. So yeah, it basically is kind of an analysis of the justice system in Russia in the late 19th century. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. Definitely not enjoying it as much as I was Anna Karenina. I don't know why, because I thought I would like maybe even like this more, but it's interesting. It's just like not a lot has happened, and I'm already like 200 pages in. But yeah, I don't know how to put it, but I am just kind of reading this slowly. But yeah, I have Resurrection. And the next book I brought, which I'm probably gonna start, is Call Me By Your Name by Andre Ostman. I'm not entirely sure. But this is like obviously an iconic book / film, and I haven't read it yet, which is kind of embarrassing because I feel like everyone's read this. But yeah, I'm excited to read it. I got this a while ago, so I thought it'd be like a nice perfect time to read it now that it's summer. Yeah, I'm probably gonna start this soon because I kind of want another book to read while I'm reading Resurrection, because sometimes I'm not in the mood to read Resurrection. So yeah, I hope I like this. I'm excited to read it. And I also brought Rilke on Love and Other Difficulties because I just like to read, like, you know, I just wanted to read like a poetry / this is like poetry and some of his essays, so there's like a bunch of different things I can read in here, so that's cool. And I also brought Dante's Inferno. I would really like to get to this soon because I like have had this for a long time and I just haven't read it yet. So I would really like to read this. Yeah. And then lastly, I brought Tender is the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Once again, I'm very excited to read this. And I hope I'm pretty sure I'll love it because I've loved everything I've read by Fitzgerald. So yeah, I brought this as well. Probably will start this after I finish Resurrection, or this or Inferno. I'm not sure which one though. That is all the books I brought. I've also been working on my college applications because the Common App opened up yesterday, and yeah, I have my big list of colleges that I'm applying to. I kind of changed things up a bit because I know I did a study with me and I like listed off all the colleges I was applying to, and like some of them I've changed. Also, I'm speaking really softly because my grandma's asleep in the other room, so yeah, sorry. But I will list them off. Honestly, this might change, but I don't know. A lot of the schools are the same from the last list, but I'm applying to Bennington College, which is in Vermont, which is actually where Donna Tartt went to school. I think she got her master's there. Berry College, Colby College, Dartmouth, Duke. I might not be applying to Duke. I don't know. I still have to decide. Reed College, Sewanee, which is in Tennessee, Smith College, which is where my grandma went, UNC Chapel Hill, UNC Charlotte, UNC Wilmington, the University of Richmond, Wellesley College, William & Mary, Georgetown, and Wake Forest. Right now I'm debating between applying to Wake Forest or Duke. I don't know which one. I have Legacy at Duke, but I don't think that is really gonna help me at all, so whatever. I also applied to like a bunch of universities in the United Kingdom, but I guess I can say those as well. Exeter, Belfast, Leeds, Royal Holloway, and Bangor. So yeah, that's all my colleges. I've just been working on like the supplementals and stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Okay. So yeah, I will probably read some. I'm watching The Office sort of right now. So, yeah, I will see you guys in a little bit. Hello everybody, it is Sunday night now. I took a nap earlier and I woke up feeling a lot better. I think I was really tired, and it just made everything like me feeling, it made me feel a lot worse because I was so tired. But I took a nap a little while ago and now I feel a lot better. I did some reading, and yeah, I want to talk about the books that I've been reading, obviously, because I didn't really go into depth earlier. So the first book that I want to talk about is one I actually started a few hours ago, and it is Call Me By Your Name. I've been really excited to start this book. Obviously, I've seen the movie, and it's become very popular over the past, since it came out. So yeah, I am so far enjoying it. I am not like, I don't know how I feel about the writing style so far because it's very self-reflective, just reflecting on the past, and that's kind of all it's been so far. Just like kind of very cryptic, and I think if you've read the book you probably know what I mean. I'm only on page 20 though, so I don't know how it's gonna play out for the rest of the book. I wanted to read this to get I don't think this is not a very lighthearted book at all, but like a book that's very different from Resurrection by Tolstoy. So I'm hoping for a book that's like very much romance driven, because I'm just like
I'm just trying to like read that right now. So I don't know where this is actually, I don't know like how the book plays out and how it's different from the film, so we will see what happens, but so far I'm overall am enjoying it. So yeah, we will see where it goes, and I'm excited to read it more. I'm also still reading, I didn't really go into depth about this earlier, but I'm still reading Resurrection by Leo Tolstoy. What am I saying? Oh yeah, I didn't really go into depth about what this is about and like my feelings. I know I talked like briefly. It's just kind of about our main characters, Dmitri and Nikoladov. I'm not pronouncing that right. And the she was a love interest at one point. She kind of still is. It's complicated. Maslova, and it is basically about their fates intertwining of sorts, and how they had an affair like years ago, and then she goes down a very bad path after they were together because, you know, I guess you just read the book and you figure it out, but and basically she is on trial for a theft and murder, and he's on the jury, and that's how they meet again like years later. And it's about him trying to appeal to a higher court to so she can basically have like a lessened sentence, I think, because she's supposed to be in Siberia for 4 years, because she is convicted of what she's on trial for. So yeah, I am definitely enjoying it. I'm about halfway through, and I think I've kind of felt this way about some of the other books by Tolstoy I've read, because, I mean, except for Anna Karenina, but I read the Kreutzer Sonata, and I've read like 100 pages of War and Peace, and I kind of felt this way about those, and this one is like the characters are just not really very alive for me, but instead there's like the whole idea of this non-sentient thing that's more alive than the characters, if that makes sense. Like in this case, it's like Russia's prison and justice system. In my mind, and reading this book, that feels more alive than any of the characters. And for a while I don't know how I felt about that, and I think like while reading this book I've definitely come to terms with like a lot of Tolstoy's work is very much like that, because with the Kreutzer Sonata I felt like the characters weren't necessarily alive, but the whole idea of murder and infidelity was alive. Like just that concept was alive. I didn't feel that way about Anna Karenina, which was funny, not funny, but weird. And what I read of War and Peace, it felt more like the Napoleonic Wars were alive rather than some of the main characters like Anastasia and I don't remember who else, but so yeah, I know like if you read any other Tolstoy, if you guys have read Tolstoy, please let me know like what you think about that. I did not feel the way about Anna Karenina at all. Yeah, no I didn't, but with the other works I read by him, I felt that these like concepts are very much more pressing, and then the characters are just there to initiate and make the story happen. And I don't know exactly how I am feeling about it with Resurrection. I don't know, I'm not disliking it. I don't know, I still need to figure it out. I need to read the book. I think because I'm just like kind of just coming to terms with that fact. This is my third complete Tolstoy, I guess fourth technically, because I read parts of War and Peace, but I haven't read all of it. Third or fourth, whatever you want to say. So yeah, I've been reading a lot of Tolstoy this year, which what can I say? But yeah, I don't know, it's an interesting book, and I don't know how I really thought that the, I guess, justice system worked in Russia, or really in Europe in the 19th century. I was like, I don't like think about it. I guess I always like had this perception, especially in Russia, that it was just like really bad. But it's actually kind of similar in certain aspects, like to just a normal like US I don't know, I think that I had a very warped perception of what 19th century Russian trials would be like, and it's very different, but I think what's really interesting, and I found this with like everything I read by Tolstoy, is that everything he writes is so seemingly timeless, and everything I read by him, I found something that is so incredibly relevant to like the most specific things in modern day America and just like the world in general. I know in this specifically, he talks obviously a lot about the prison, the whole concept of being in prison, and talking a lot about going into specifics of what these people are in prison for and how some of it is kind of ridiculous, and it's really, really interesting how he writes and how it's very, very relevant to today, which is kind of sad because this was written like 150 years ago, and I feel like we should have progressed more as a society, but what can I say? So yeah, I don't know, I'm like thinking about it, I'm like looking at the book down here, but yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it today. I'm sorry I'm not very coherent. I never can talk well when I talk about Tolstoy. I don't know what it is, but other than that, I will see you guys probably tomorrow because I'm probably gonna go to bed soon. So yeah, thank you for listening to me ramble about Leo Tolstoy. So evening everyone, it is Tuesday night. I had to think about that, and I have some reading updates. I didn't update yesterday just because, I don't know, I didn't really feel like it. I read a lot of Call Me By Your Name though, and I have some thoughts that I want to share with you guys. So I definitely have mixed feelings, which I'm kind of sad about because I really, really wanted to like love this book because so many people love it, and I really love the movie. And fortunately I'm not loving it as much as I wanted to, but I'm still enjoying it. I just have some issues that I'll talk about. I'll start with the good though. The prose, I never know if I should use are or is after I say prose. No, I don't know. I think it's is, but is sounds weird. The prose is, I don't know. Well, the writing is incredibly beautiful. And just the descriptions of Italy and the feeling of like that Elio talks about of this intense desire, not only for Oliver in like a romantic and like sexual sense, but like in just like in all-encompassing like just genuine kind of love for someone it's incredibly beautiful. It's just very, very powerful, and it's just so interesting. It's like every single sentence or line evokes a really, really powerful feeling and kind of seemingly relates back to Elio's kind of obsession, I would say, with Oliver. Obsession, I guess, yearning, I don't know. Sorry, my fan is also on in the background, so sorry if you can hear that, but prose, once again, very, very lovely. The writing in this is just beautiful, and, you know, yeah, there's just really, really beautiful descriptions, and I love the discussions of philosophy and love and kind of how Elio perceives his sexuality and how other people around him will or would perceive it. And this is set in the 80s, so obviously this is set in a time when homosexuality was still very much stigmatized And yeah, it's just very interesting, the discussions of sexuality and really everything, because Elio's father is a university professor. I believe he studies like classics, I want to say. I don't think it's specified, but it seems like he's works in like the classics department or like philosophy or something of that sort. And the kind of discussions that are brought up of, I guess, a lot of really interesting discussions of classical studies, I guess. It doesn't really go into great depth, but when it's talked about, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's interesting. I always like to hear about that. So yeah, I also am really enjoying the romance between Elio and Oliver. I definitely have some issues with the characters themselves, but the romance is incredibly intricate, and I will say, I'll get into this a bit more, but the characters, I do feel like lack the depth that I would like to see to make the romance even more of an intricacy and even more, I don't know, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, but I'll talk about that more in a minute. But romance is so beautiful, and I think that what Andre Osterman, I don't really know how to pronounce his last name, does really well is that he kind of erases all feelings of whether these two people are like men, like, because, you know, Oliver and Ellie are both guys, kind of like erases all, even like the conception of them being men, and rather than just being human beings who are just together. And it's very much like such a genuine kind of love for one another. Very beautifully written. The way that he kind of portrays that, I feel like if you watch the movie or read the book, it's very prevalent in both of those. I felt that way when I watched the movie, and I definitely feel this way when reading the book. There's almost a disregard for the fact that they are, well, not necessarily a disregard, because it is talked about, like Elio talks about it, I guess, or he thinks about it with the book, in the book, but when they're actually together, there's almost like a disregard for the fact that they are both men, and that it's considered wrong, and it was considered wrong at the time, and it's more of just like them being together, and it feels so holistic, and I don't know, I just think it's very incredibly beautiful the way that it's written, and it's just really lovely to read. So yeah, I will say, I think what's bothered me a little bit is that both Ellie and Oliver do feel a bit one-dimensional, and I'm kind of surprised that I'm enjoying the romance as much as I am, because usually with characters that go one-dimensional because of romance, I can't get into, like, I can't root for it because, you know, for obvious reasons. But with this, I mean, it's not bothering me too much, because Elio's, I guess, like, I wouldn't even say love, because it's more of like a yearning for Oliver is kind of at the heart of this, but I think because of that, Elio is a bit one-dimensional, and he doesn't have much of a personality. I kind of hate to say it, and I kind of feel the same way with Oliver. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, I know a lot of people read this book and loved it, and if you guys have read it, please let me know, like, what you thought about that. If you, I don't know if people feel the same way, but that didn't really distract away from their reading enjoyment, but I think in a way it's like kind of distracted it from mine, just because I do like, as much as I love the romance, I do like to enjoy like the other aspects of the book, like Elio just being in Italy in the summer and doing what he does, like transcribing music and being with his friends and reading, just like the mundane things. I love that in books, and it's harder for me to enjoy like those aspects when the character feels a bit flat, and it does, I feel like it does take away a little bit from the romance, and I feel like the romance would be even more powerful in this book if both the characters were a bit more, were better developed and more, like, had more depth. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel, I think, about the book right now. I am enjoying it. I don't like, I don't know exactly how I'm gonna feel at the end, but we will see. I know what happens at the end because I watched the movie. But yeah, we will see what happens, and I will update you guys later. So. Sweater in like every clip, but it's the only one I brought to this house, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. I finished, can you guess, Call Me By Your Name like 20 minutes ago, and I don't know, I feel like I will be able to formulate my thoughts a bit better tomorrow, but I did want to come on here and like briefly talk about how I feel now right after finishing it, and maybe talk about it in a more coherent way, more concise way tomorrow. I will say the last, I think 10 or 20 pages were something else. I don't know, they were just so like melancholy. I think that's the only word I can use to describe it. I guess the last 20 pages differed a lot from the film. If you read the book, obviously like no, but it's very much, it basically is like Elio's perspective like years and years later after everything that happens with Oliver, and it's just so nostalgic and kind of like there's so much longing for the past and youth and like what once was, and oh my god, that part just made me want to like rip my eyeballs out in like the best way possible. It made me so sad, and also it's just something that I feel like even if not everyone has experienced like this all-encompassing, incredibly passionate affair with someone, but I think we all kind of understand the feeling of, you know, wanting something back so terribly and missing and feeling like life has passed us by. And you know, even I feel like I felt that way a lot, and I'm only 17, so I don't know, but this book, like the last 20 pages, the way that it talked about that was just so raw, and it made me like, I don't know, I was crying a little bit. I think I have some pages marked. I don't have my tabs with me, so I'm having to dog ear. This is just a very simple line, and I just read this and I was like, I don't we had found the stars, you and I, and this is given once only. And in the context of this whole book, that line I think is one of the most powerful passages. That line was legit something else. What else? I've marked many things. This one's good. This one's short too. All I was likely to discover at this point wasn't just how distant were the paths to be taken, it was the measure of loss that was going to strike me, a loss I didn't mind thinking about in abstract terms, but which would hurt when stared at in the face.
the way nostalgia hurts after we've stopped thinking of things we've lost and may never have cared for. I have another one. Time makes us sentimental. Perhaps in the end, it's because of time that we suffer. I love when authors just dive deep into the concept of time and like how life moves so quickly. I am a sucker for discussions, like deep discussions of that, and I cry every time, and I cried reading all that. So here I just, oh my god, this Ellie is kind of talking about how life would have been so much different if another intern had been chosen instead of Oliver for that summer. But I might have discovered something else which I missed out on and might never know about. Wouldn't have changed, would never be who I am today, would have become someone else. I wonder now who that someone else is today. Is he happier? Couldn't I dip into his life for a few hours, a few days, and see for myself, not just to test if this other life is better, or to measure how our lives couldn't be furthest apart because of Oliver, but also to consider what I would say to this other me, were I to pay him a short visit one day. Would I like him? Would he like me? Would either of us understand why the other became who he is? Would either be surprised to learn that each of us had in fact run into an Oliver of one sort or another, man or woman, and that we were very possibly, regardless of who came to stay with us that summer, one and the same person still? I don't have words. I think what really, really got me was, because I personally couldn't relate to the feelings he had towards Oliver, but I also don't think that really took away from my enjoyment, because sometimes I feel like if I am reading a book and I really can't relate to what's going on with the characters, it kind of puts off my reading enjoyment. And I think I've said this before, sometimes I'll say I want to come back to it when I feel like I've experienced that and I'll have a better understanding. But I feel like with this book, I was inside of Elio's head. I feel like now I have experienced what he experienced, even though I know I haven't. But after reading this book, I feel like, holy shit, And I think what really sealed the deal for me was the discussions of nostalgia and time, and just how I think Oliver was talking about this, but how maybe his life hadn't been what he really wanted it to be, or how he'd almost been in a coma for a lot of his life. I guess I kind of took that as, I don't have the quote in front of me, but I don't really looking for it, but I guess I kind of took that as just kind of being more of an observer rather than being a participant. And I don't know, I think that reading, this is going to get more of a broad discussion, but I think that what I love about books, other than the fact that they are what they are, is that I feel like they remind you of what to do and what not to do in life. And I feel so grateful to read so much at such a young age, and I've always read this, I've always been I've always read a lot, but I feel so grateful that I feel like I've been able to learn from so many characters' regrets and mistakes, and I feel like through these characters I've grown so much as a person, even though they're not real. And I know Elio's father talks about this, but how, people almost live like they have more than one life, and when that's not true, or at least we don't know it's true. Maybe we do have more than one life. I don't know if I believe in reincarnation. Anyways, but how people act or live like they have more than one life, and they can just do things over all the time, but in the end that's not necessarily true. And I know saying you only have one life, you have to make it count, is cliche, but I think it's something that it's easy to forget. And I don't know, I think this book, other than the fact that it is what it is, it reminded me of that, and I really love when books remind me of that. It just makes me happy, and it makes me feel like I have a lot of control over what I do, because I do, and I don't know, just, yeah, I don't know. I think for what I know, you know, last night I think I talked a little bit about how I had some issues with the books, and I think those issues still remain. Like, I still have those issues, but I think taking this book for what it is and looking at it as like a whole entire piece, it's a little bit, it's like, I see it differently now. I think that's what I have to say tonight. But yeah, I don't know. I would like to read the second book. I think it's called Find Me. I'll probably buy that soon. So yeah, I also, oh, I forgot to talk about this. I haven't updated since last night. Like, right after I updated last night, or like a few hours after, I got my ACT score back because I retook it in July, and I got a 32, which I'm really happy about, because I had wanted like that. So yeah, I'm really happy. Okay, this doesn't make sense to me. I somehow got a 35 on the science section because I'm not that good at the science section, but I got a 35 on that test. So what can I say? Yeah, if you aren't familiar with like the American standardized testing system, the ACT is just like a standardized test, and it's out of 36. So I got a 32. Tomorrow I think is my last day staying here because my parents are coming home Friday, so tomorrow night will be my last night. So yeah, then I'll go home and be home. Yeah, I'm gonna continue reading Resurrection by Leo Tolstoy, and I wanted to like maybe pick up another book while I'm at it, but I kind of just want to focus on Resurrection right now because I've been reading it for a while, and I do want to finish it like within the next week. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. But I hope you guys are having a good day or night or whatever time it is where you live. But yeah, I will see you guys probably tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday morning, and I'm finally back at my house. My parents are coming home this evening, so they're coming home a bit early. Excuse me. So I decided to come back, and I'm just like cleaning a little bit because the house was a bit messy. But I also stopped at Barnes & Noble kind of out of the blue, and I wasn't really planning on getting anything, or I was like gonna get one thing, and then I got more than I had anticipated. So yeah, but I actually ended up getting a Barnes & Noble membership because I don't have one, surprisingly, or I didn't have one, and I ended up just getting one today, and I saved a lot of money, so that was fun. Yeah, I will show you guys what I got. I got some good stuff, and I'm excited. Alright, so the first thing I got, I'm very, very excited about this, is the Arabian Nights. And this is a collection of basically kind of like mythical stories of sorts from just the general area of like Arabia, the Middle East. And yeah, I don't know exactly when this was actually like created. I think it's just like a collection of a bunch of stuff from like different periods of time, but it seems really, really interesting. And I know I'll read the back a little bit, but okay. Once upon a time, the name Baghdad conjured up visions of the most magical, romantic city on earth, where flying carpets carried noble thieves off on wonderful adventures, and vicious viziers, and beautiful princesses mingled with willy peasants and powerful genies. So like a bunch of really interesting stuff. I can't wait to read this. It seems like it's gonna be really, really good. So yeah, I got Arabian Nights. And I also got The House of Mirth by Edith Wharton because I've heard many good things about Edith Wharton, and I've never read anything from her, and I'm really excited. I believe this is about like a young woman who is holding off marriage. I'm not entirely sure.
Let's see. Okay. Faced with an array of wealthy suitors, New York socialite Lily Bart falls in love with lawyer Lawrence Selden, whose lack of money spoils their chances for happiness together. Dubious business deals and accusations of liaisons with a married man diminish Lily's social status, and as she makes one bad choice after another, she learns how venal and brutally unforgiving the upper crust of New York can be. So yeah, it seems really good. I was choosing between this and The Age of Innocence, and I went with this one. So yeah, I also got Beloved by Toni Morrison. This is I remember like hearing about this briefly, but what really made me interested in this was Emma from her channel, Emmy. She talked about this in her July wrap up, I think, and she said she really, really enjoyed it, and it sounds really good. And I'm pretty sure it's kind of like a spooky book, I think. I think it's kind of a spooky book, but it's also dealing with, like, I think the aftermath of slavery. So I think it is a bit of a spooky book, but it's also very much like literary fiction, dealing with a lot of hard-hitting topics. So I am really excited to read this. The next, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. But the next book I got was I Die For You, Another Lost Stories by F. Scott Fitzgerald. And this is basically a collection of his stories that were meant to be published, but like basically weren't. And yeah, I'm literally so excited. I love having collections of his work, and I can't wait to read this. It also included this very wait, was this a photo? Was this the edition? Included this really beautiful photo of Fitzgerald, and I'm pretty sure this is his French driver's license from 1931. That's what it says. So yeah, I just love that photo, and yeah, I am really excited to read some of these stories. I also got The Monk by Matthew Lewis. This is a gothic fiction, and I'm really, really excited to read this. So I believe it's about a monk who kind of leaves the monastic lifestyle, and ends up descending into a world of immorality, and yeah, I am really so very excited to read this. Also, if anyone wants to like buddy read with me a book, that was a very general statement, but if anyone would like to buddy read a book with me, I have a pretty long TBR, but if anyone is like interested in buddy reading any of the books I have on this haul, please let me know, or any of the books I mentioned in this vlog. Please let me know, because I would be very happy to buddy read something with people. I'm very excited for this. I got Circe by Madeline Miller. This is my first Madeline Miller book. I've been wanting to read this for a very long time, and I just like hadn't picked it up yet. And I am very excited because I just kind of was like, okay, I'm finally gonna get it because I've been wanting to read this. And I know this is kind of like a retelling of Circe. And yeah, I know everyone really loves her, what is it called? The Song of Achilles. This book had always intrigued me more than The Song of Achilles, so I want to read this first, and if I really like it, I can read The Song of Achilles. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to read this. Alright, so the last book I got was The Love of the Last Tycoon, and this was basically Fitzgerald's last book. I believe he was still in the middle of writing it when he died, so it's kind of finished off by some of his editors, but I'm very, very excited to read this. I've always heard it referred to as The Last Tycoon. I never heard it referred to as The Love of the Last Tycoon, but I'm assuming it's like the same thing. I think this just has like a finished edition, or kind of implies how it was supposed to finish off. So yeah, I'm very excited to have more Fitzgerald, of course. So yeah, that's all the Barnes & Noble stuff, all the books I got at Barnes & Noble, and I'm so happy. I don't know, I love buying books, so yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I also started Tender is the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and it's going really well. I'm only like 10 pages in, but I'm really enjoying it. I always am nervous when I start a work by Fitzgerald because he's one of my favorite authors ever, and I don't want to ever not love something by him. And I read The Curious Case of Benjamin Mutton last month, and I think that was the only thing I read by him that I wasn't like crazy about, but I still enjoyed it. But I would hate to like just hate something from him, and I always am nervous when I start something from Fitzgerald because I'm like, oh my gosh, if I hate this, I'm gonna be so sad. But I think for me, it's kind of impossible to hate anything he writes. But I started Tenders tonight, and I am interested in it. I am very excited to read more. So yeah. Hello everybody, it is Monday evening. I haven't updated in a while because I've just been kind of busy doing stuff, but I got new glasses because my new glasses came in on Friday and I went to go get them and I really like them. They're a lot lighter, so they kind of, I don't really feel them on my face. Yeah, I wanted to come on here to talk about Tender is the Night a little bit because I've been reading a lot more of it. And this book is very different from anything I've read from Fitzgerald before in a few ways. It's not like crazy different, but well, I'm trying to think how to talk about this. I think one of the big things that I noticed was in a lot of other Fitzgerald's books, when he talks about like sex, sexuality, romance, all of that, maybe like when he is kind of trying to refer to more of the explicit sides of that, he very much uses a lot of euphemisms. Yeah, and this book is very different in that aspect because our main character is Rosemary and she's like an 18-year-old girl who is in Monte Carlo with her mother and falls in love with this older man who's married. And there's the scene where she is basically trying to sleep with him, and he and what's she's saying, I'll read it. It's gonna make me like kind of uncomfortable to read this, but because it's just like me like reading this out loud. It's kind of weird, but it's also kind of sad because I feel bad for her because she's just kind of like an 18-year-old girl trying to do this. Actually, I'm not gonna read it because it can make me feel weird. I don't want to read this because it is a bit like, it's very much like yearning for someone, and just her trying to like convince him to sleep with her, and he's just kind of like he's just like being nice. He's just trying to like be nice, and I felt really bad for her because she's so naive in this situation, and she's just kind of like, like I've already read part of the next scene, and she wakes up the next morning and she's like, oh my god, I feel so bad for her, because that's just really, because she'd had like a lot to drink, and yeah, but they didn't end up doing anything, but she had just kind of tried to throw herself on him, and he was just like, no. But the way she kind of talked to him, I've really never seen Fitzgerald use some of the very like just truthful dialogue. I mean, he just uses a lot of euphemisms when he talks about stuff like that. So yeah, I think that was one thing that surprised me because it's kind of come up more in this book than I thought it would, just like talking about sexuality and sex, and it's not very euphemistic like I've read in a lot of his books, and I don't have a problem with that. It's just something I've noticed. So yeah,
Also, this was really interesting. I'm not sure if I'm overthinking this or overanalyzing this. Our main character, Rosemary, once again, she's really interesting. She's kind of quirky. She grew up in with her mom, who was like a single mother. I'm pretty sure her dad left them or he died. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. But she grew up in like a middle class family, and her mother put her into like the film industry. I don't know. She like somehow worked her way in, and now she does films, and she's turns 18 in this book, so she's like 17, 18. And she this is really interesting because, as I said, she falls in love with this man. His name is Dick Diver, but he's married. I don't know if I said that before. He's married to this woman, Nicole, and it's really intriguing because I feel like with a lot of kind of when you have feelings for someone and then they have like a significant other, you tend to not like that other person because they're kind of standing in your way, or at least that's how you perceive it. She very much admires Nicole, his wife. Like, she very much looks up to her. It's like, I don't know, I was kind of surprised by that because I thought she would just be like, I hate Nicole. But no, she's like, she really looks up to her and she admires her. And she's always like, Nicole is so pretty. But what I think was interesting, and I don't know if this was the part, I don't know if I'm over analyzing, but there's this part where she is kind of like, it was from the last scene I was talking about, where she's kind of drunk, kind of saying a lot of things, and she's just like, I'm in love with you and Nicole. And I don't know if like that should be perceived as her saying that in more of like a friendship way, like she loves Nicole in like a friendship way, if she's actually queer. I don't know, because I highly doubt it's going to be explicitly said. But honestly, the way she talks about Nicole in a lot of these, like in a lot of her thoughts and whatnot, and like the way she just kind of admires her, I am kind of like, Rosemary, go off. Good for Rosemary. But yeah, it's a really interesting book, and it's definitely different from what I read from Fitzgerald, because this is there's some like parts of it. There was this one part that I found a bit weird. Like, these two men tried to have a duel, which was really strange. That just kind of happened. But it's very different from what I've read, I feel like. I mean, it definitely does involve like a love story of sorts, but it's also, you know, I feel like Fitzgerald writes love stories and they're never really happy. They don't have happy endings. They're always kind of melancholy, or they always end in not a great way. But yeah, I am interested to see where this book is going to go, because I've heard a lot of people say this is their favorite Fitzgerald and they prefer this over The Great Gatsby. So I'm kind of interested to see how I feel. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna close off this vlog yet, because I actually kind of want to keep on rambling about this book. But yeah, I am doing a lot of stuff at the barn for the next 3 days, so I don't know if I'm actually gonna like film more horse clips at the barn, but I will try to update like tomorrow evening. So yeah, I can't what am I trying to say? Yeah, I'm really excited to read more of Fitzgerald, because I've marked some really beautiful lines. Let's find them. Okay, this part's just really kind of nice. I like some of his even mundane descriptions are very beautiful. And this is talking about Rosemary. Her naivety responded wholeheartedly to the expensive simplicity of the Divers, unaware of its complexity and its lack of innocence, unaware that it was all a selection of quality rather than quantity from the run of the world's bazaar. I guess bazaar, I'm not. And that the simplicity of behavior also, the nursery like peace and goodwill, the emphasis on the simpler virtues, was part of a desperate bargain with the gods, and had been attained through struggles she could not have guessed at. At that moment, the Divers represented externally the exact furthermost evolution of a class, so that most people seemed awkward beside them. In reality, a qualitative change had already set, and that was not all apparent to Rosemary. And what's really been implied of this book, about this book, and what's really been implied in this book is that the Divers, there's something more to their marriage. There's something kind of strange going on, because one of our characters, I believe, I always forget, what is her name? So Mrs. McKisco, one of the characters, had seen something, I think, with the divers in the bathroom, or something had happened, and we still don't know what it is. But it was like very strange. Like, it was something she was kind of like, what? And then everyone was just like, shh, don't talk about it. So Rosemary doesn't know, and like we don't know yet. And there's just been a lot of implications that the divers, there's something more going on, and there's something kind of like strange about them. From that passage you can kind of infer, like, I'm not entirely sure, but I know that this book had was written when Fitzgerald was really struggling with Zelda. Like, their relationship was not doing great because Zelda was having a lot of mental health issues, and she was like in and out of mental health facilities. And I don't know if this was when he had written this book, but I know at one point, I think him and her, I think she was driving and he was in the passenger seat, and I think their daughter was in the car. She tried to drive them off a cliff. Like, I remember my teacher telling me that, like, she was really not doing well. And I think that this book takes a lot from his marriage with her, and I'm assuming the divers are kind of going to be having some issues. Like, they're not totally intact, you know? And I'm interested to see how that's going to work out, because Zelda and Fitzgerald's relationship was so incredibly sad, and I can see like why Fitzgerald's books are also kind of melancholy. And like, I mean, they always kind of hold this sense of hope, but the relationships, especially, they rarely end well. And it's just like, they were very much in love with each other, but there were so many other issues going on. Like, Fitzgerald was a major alcoholic. Zelda was like just deteriorating mentally. And it's just so sad, like, the way that all happened. I feel like it was just really, you know, sad. Like, that's what it was. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else, but yeah, I'm interested to see like what's going on with the divers, because they are an interesting couple. So yeah. Hello everybody. It is Tuesday evening. I got back from the barn a few hours ago, and I was really tired, so I took a nap because I was there for like 8 hours. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's like this like almost like boot camp thing going. That's what's happening. I don't know. I'm not gonna like fully explain it, but it was fun, and I have it for the next 2 days. So yeah, but I got some book mail, because I ordered this for my AP Lit class, because I know we're reading this sometime this year, and I just like wanted to have it. And I wanted to get it in this edition, but I got Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and I got it in the Penguin English Library edition, and this is so very beautiful. Look, like, all the hearts, the colors are perfect. So I'm excited to read this. I've definitely heard mixed things, but I hope I love it. So yeah, I am probably just going to read some of Fitzgerald or Tolstoy right now. I'm not sure which. I haven't read today. And then while I lay on a heating pad, because my back hurts so bad. So yeah, that's like what's going on. This isn't a very long clip, but yeah, I think that's all I have to say. So yeah. Hello everybody. I cut my hair like 20 minutes ago, very spontaneously. But today is Thursday. It was my last day of IEA boot camp. And I got back from the barn a few hours ago, so I'm very tired, but I feel a little more energized than I did when I first got back. But I am gonna close out this vlog because I do want to post this like tonight, because I usually upload videos Thursdays, sometimes Fridays if I'm feeling lazy. But I want to upload this tonight, and I'm almost done editing it. So yeah, I'm gonna close this vlog off. I hope you guys enjoyed my last vlog. I did surprisingly well, and people have asked me to do more, so I'm very pleased, because I actually really like filming these. So yeah, I hope you guys are
doing well, and I will probably maybe film another vlog in September or late August. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I don't know if I talked about this already, but I will leave resources down below if you would like to donate to anything or sign. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.